What's going on, everybody? This is my first upload in a while. We're just going to be going over last year, 2025, all my trades that year, and we'll be going over, I guess, what I think is going to happen this year and a couple trades that I'm looking out for. Looking to buy, especially if we continue in a bear market. So first things first, one of the first things I did in 2025 was execute my Solana trade well. So Trump launched his token very early on in 2025, and that was this massive green candle on Solana. And that was when I was selling my Solana position, which I had taken earlier in 2024. So, with that, I managed to get an average exit of above $200, which was a pretty good exit. It was nice because a lot of trades, you have high conviction where they're going to go, but then you don't exit properly. And I guess that leads us to the next token that year, which was a phenomenal play, by the way, which was ABSTER. So obviously, I even said ABSTER was going to run before the chain was launched because I knew the mascot was already the mascot. And I was like, this is the easiest play of Abstract, right? Like, it's the most obvious coin that someone can create that's going to run very well. And as you can see, I got in pre-bond. So this was even before this chart was created. And then I created the thesis video at 400K and it ran to 45 mil. So that's a pretty insane gain. But as you guys know, I am still holding this position. Okay. Now, do I think it can come back? Yes. Do I wish I did things differently? Depends. I think the best counter argument to my argument is that I should have taken profits when the thesis was priced in, not only when the thesis played out. But at the same time, keep in mind that I got a lot of people in this coin, and if I had sold the top, everyone would have followed. So I think it would have been pretty ugly if I did sell. It was ugly anyways, but yeah, I mean, now ABSTER, I mean, it's still very relevant on Abstract. It is still the top IP on Abstract among all other NFTs or meme coins. It's like still 10x higher than the majority of the others. Burr is pretty close, right? Burr, let's see where this is. Yeah, it's like 3x lower. And this is like one of the next biggest IPs. So yeah, ABSTER is still the best or one of the best bets on Abstract. I think ABX is a close second. There are good things and bad things to ABX, which I'll get into. But this is supposed to be a review of last year anyway. So yeah, ABSTER was a great play. Congrats to anyone that got in and got out. If you're still holding, I still think this comes back. I do think Luca will have to activate stuff. I think the markets will become risk on eventually. I think we are more in a bear market now though, so we'll have to wait for the bull to resume, and then this could be like a Toshi play like we saw. Toshi was down in the dumps at one point when the market was down, and then when the market came back, Toshi just skyrocketed. So I don't think it's very different. So yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. I guess the next the next trade was just Abstract in general. I am one of the top XP earners. We are almost in Obsidian tier, and I think there are only like 20 people maximum in Obsidian. So we will be one of the top 50 people almost for sure in Obsidian, which is pretty cool. This hasn't really resulted in too much yet, but obviously we will be positioned in case there's some sort of reward for XP. That's a pretty good, we're in a pretty good position, let's say. So yeah, that's good. You could check all my XP. I have 8.3 million. I guess we can mention the fact that I grew my X account pretty well, so that was good in 2025. That was pretty useful. What else was next? I tried to think of everything beforehand. But the summer, I think I missed out on a lot of things in the summer because I was just focused on Abstract and ABSTER, which, by the way, both were pumping during that time. So that was a really fun time, and I hope we see days like this again. But then closer, also Pengu started pumping in the summer as well. So this was another one of my theses, and I was buying 0.07, so somewhere around here. And then obviously it ran very high. I also did not sell. This one was definitely a mistake. So this one was definitely a mistake, different from ABSTER. From ABSTER, I would say the thesis didn't play out still. But as I said, arguably, I should have sold when the thesis was priced in. I think Pengu, I don't think the thesis played out either. Like from a long-term perspective, I'm not at all worried about Pengu, but I think from a short-term perspective, it was very clear that as soon as we'd hit all-time high, we would head into resistance. Like I think that was very obvious. I think even Luca knew like, oh, if we want to flip Doge, we were going to have to do it in a couple years. It's not going to be this cycle. So we were pricing in flipping Doge this cycle, and that was just never going to happen even in Luca's eyes. So it's like, why would Luca try to make a push past all-time highs? The main thing he wanted was just to push to all-time highs to basically say, oh, look, the launch was actually a good launch. The token is worth something, stuff like that. But yeah, now it's down a lot. So I do think that was a mistake. I should have definitely sold some, but yeah, mistakes happen. Still learning. Everyone told me that in my first cycle I would lose money, and it was far from that. So I am still glad to say that I made both realized profits. I like, well, I'm not gonna share numbers, but I made a significant amount realized, and I also grew my account very significantly in unrealized gains. So yeah, both of that was pretty nice considering people told me I'd lose money in my first cycle. Then we got to, I guess, Q4, and in Q4 we saw, well, yeah, we saw Punk strategy run like crazy. Okay, and usually I'm not a big fan of derivatives, but I said, guys, listen, if you see a Pudgy strategy token appear, this token is going to run like crazy. And I said this, try to get in early. I said this to my Telegram. So feel free to join my Telegram. You'll get more immediate updates there. But yeah, Pudgy strategy, I was like, okay, look for a Pudgy strategy token. And sure enough, one appeared on Abstract. Now it was very clear that the team was not the best. So I knew it was only going to be a short-term hype play. I managed to get in at like 70K market cap all the way down here, right? 70K market cap. And then it ran to 6 mil. I don't know why someone aped an insane amount, but they did. I managed to exit like 1.5 mil, I think was my average exit, something like that. So it was still significant returns. Catching a wick is almost impossible because some other people caught the wick, probably even bots caught the wick. But yeah, still significant gains. That was a very good trade, just because it was so obvious. Like, and also this is I guess a common theme now. This happened twice in 2025 where I said, look out for this coin. If you see it, buy it. This is the same thing with ABSTER. I was like, look out for an ABSTER token. If you see it, buy it. And this was before the tokens launched, and as you can see, they perform very well. So, but if you guys want to know why it's at 37K now, it's because, as I said, the team is not very official. The token is not necessarily permissionless. So basically, they own a bunch of Pudgy Penguins now, but there's no guarantee that they will ever sell those Pudgy Penguins. There still is the team risk. Whereas a token like Punk Strategy, this is all permissionless. So the punks are bought, the taxes happen automatically, the punks are sold, and the chart is rebought automatically. So there's no dev that could change that in Punk strategy. But for this Pudgy strategy token, it's a bit of an issue. Now this Pudgy strategy token, this is the same team as Punk strategy. So it's actually the same permissionless structure to some degree, at least. I know there are a couple differences, but the point is, if you are bullish on Pudgy Penguins, this could be a okay play. I don't want to share too much, but I am looking to buy some of this if we have another leg lower. I still have a good amount of cash ready to buy in case we go lower. And with Bitcoin making this up move today, I wouldn't be surprised if we have a little relief rally and then head lower again. This could potentially be the bottom, but I'm not gonna hope on it. I'm not gonna expect this to be the bottom of the bear. We have some random indicators like RSI signaling it's the bottom, but I don't think so. I think we're gonna have a little relief bounce, right? I don't know how high we go, and then we'll make lower lows to create a bottom, and that is when I would be loading up on Bitcoin and also leveraged assets. So let me just quickly show you an example. MSTR is one of my biggest regrets. During the bear market, instead of buying only Bitcoin, I should have bought some MSTR as well. It was very, very obvious that it would run very hard. So when was I buying Bitcoin? I was buying Bitcoin Okay, May 2023. So where's May 2023? Somewhere here. Yeah, so I think it was very obvious to buy MSTR in the bear, basically leverage exposure. And yeah, leverage exposure can just run like crazy. And buying it in a bear market is the least risky thing you can do. So that's also why I'm interested in Pudgy strategy, because essentially it's leveraging ETH, it's leveraging Pudgy Penguins, it's leveraging market risk on mentality. So if the market gets more risk on, it's going to pump more, etc. There's so many different ways that this is a very leveraged asset. As you can see, it ran already like crazy. The reflexivity of this coin to the upside is very insane. If Pudgy Penguins start running, then and the market is risk on, then Pudgy strategy I think will go crazy. Okay. So that's something I'm looking to add. The next trade in 2025 that was amazing, and this was kind of like the last trade of the year for me, was ABX. Now this is not the actual official chart. It is, but it's not the main chart. Um, I guess we could just look at it anyways. Basically, I bought very early on and it pumped insanely. I made like a significant 5x with size, so that was it was a great trade. Let's be honest. And I had also said in my chat, my Telegram, I was like, guys, watch out for ABX. This thing is gonna pump. It's made to pump, and also I said it's made to dump. So this is actually something interesting. A common theme when I know something is just a short-term play, I definitely get out early, and my exits tend to be better. But when I'm having a more long-term mindset, like something like ABSTER and Pengu, I tend to, I guess, not sell properly. But once again, still not worried about Pengu and ABSTER. I still think they could both come back. In fact, we'll get to Pengu in a short moment, but yeah, I tend to sell better when I know it's a short-term thesis. Which, I mean, ABSTER could have been a short-term thesis. Definitely, you could have had a short-term trade. Oh, Abstract's going to get hype, and you plan to sell the top here. And that would have definitely worked out for you. But that wasn't my thesis. My thesis was always a long-term one. And also, who knows, maybe holding and getting XP during this whole time and being one of the top XP earners is going to benefit me in the end. Yeah, I lost a ton of value in some sense, but now I'm one of the top XP earners, and if I didn't hold my ABSTER, then that wouldn't be the case. So with that being said, I think we should just look forward now, and yeah, see if there are any other high conviction trades that we could look out for. As I already said, with Bitcoin, I don't think this is the bottom. It could be, but I'm not gonna say I think it is for sure. I would put it at low probabilities. Everyone I know is saying bottom Q4. Just like last year, everyone was saying bullish Q4, and that didn't happen. So I think there's a good chance we bottom before Q4, but I don't think this would be the bottom. I think one leg lower, bottom maybe in June. This is just like based on this chart. I mean, we could pump here and then we just start going down, bottom late June, July, something like that. That's possible. I'm just giving a random scenario. But yeah, I don't think we're going to bottom Q4 because that's what everyone's expecting. And but we'll see. Anything can happen, so just be prepared. Buying MSTR on that low is definitely a potential good idea. I'm not going to say it is right away because I don't think it's down enough. I think the risk to reward here was way better than it is here. But yeah, I think MSTR is becoming less of a popular asset as it was last cycle, which is why it would have been a good trade last cycle. Okay, but with that being said, do I have any hedges in place? Well, I wanted to get to this. There's a bet. Will Abstract launch a token by, and then this is December 31st, 2026. So I actually took a large position in this earlier on in the year. I was betting that they will not launch a token in 2026. The reality is no one wants to launch a token when the market is trash. I mean, people thought OpenSea was going to launch last year Q4, and they still haven't launched their token today. And the reason why is just because if you could launch a token at a way higher valuation, why wouldn't you? So all you have to do is wait for better market conditions, and then you're going to launch your token then, and it's way more profitable for you. And it looks way better as well. So just like OpenSea and also basically 99% of other tokens, they are waiting to launch, and I wouldn't be surprised if Abstract waits until, I don't know, 2027, or until the bull market's back, or I don't know. But we'll see. Additionally, if I am wrong and they do launch a token, I am one of the top XP earners. So if there is an airdrop, then I will probably make back what I lost, I guess. So yeah, that's the idea there. This was one of the highest conviction trades this year that I've taken. Well, it was the only high conviction trade I've taken, and it was so obvious. So I'm up quite a bit right now. My average is like 31 cents. Now we're at 65 cents. So yeah, up over 100%, and very likely going to be another 100% once we get to 100%, or 100% chance they're not launching a token this year. So yeah, that is that high conviction trade. I was surprised because a lot of people, well, I wouldn't say a lot of people told me this, but I was under the impression, oh, the bear market's going to be hard to find opportunities, and that is true, but I managed to find one. The next thing I wanted to go over is a potential short-term Pengu thesis. I will be creating a video of this soon and posting it, but I do think Pengu can have an okay March. We are in March. I think starting next week, it might pump. I will share all the details on that thesis. It will be a short-term thesis, if anything, and a short-term thesis is a lot more risky, let's say. It's a lot more risky than a long-term thesis. And yeah, I guess we'll just wait and see. I will be outlining the thesis for you guys in a YouTube video closer to next week. But yeah, with that being said, I mean, 2025 overall was a great year. A lot of people I know did not make money in the markets, and a lot of people I know told me I wouldn't make money in my first cycle. But I am glad to say that I made a significant amount. 2025 was actually a better year than 2024, mainly because of compounding, right? I made some money in 2024, and then I used that money I made in 2024 to make more money in 2025. So I'm hoping that the same thing can be true for 2026 this year, although we are in a bear market. So who knows? I think there are going to be fewer opportunities, but I'm glad that I found this bet. So, I will have some realized profits this year. Probably unrealized losses because I hold a big Bitcoin position, and also ABSTER's down, and some other trades I'm in are down. But in terms of realized, I should have realized gains based on my short-term trades. Hopefully Pengu gets a pump like we're expecting. I have not taken a position. I haven't taken a long position in Pengu. I still have my long position from before, which is a long-term position, and I'm just holding that spot for a while. But in terms of a short-term play, I have not taken that position yet. So yeah, and I will be notifying you guys on my Telegram more often. So feel free to join my Telegram group. Link is in the description. But yeah, with that being said, 2025 was a great year, and let's hope 2026 is great as well.